Alright. Let's see if that was enough time for the chat to work. How's the chat? There we go. That was all set up yesterday. Alright, there we go.
Okay, I'm just gonna, I guess, wait for Finn to get in here. Is the mic working properly? Yeah, it looks like it. Webcam is not for some reason though, but whatever, it's fine. Webcam was working yesterday, it's so weird. Testing. Testing. Oh wow, that's super delayed. But at least it's working.
Well, I mean, I have things to do, so if Finn is not ready, I might just start doing things, and then if he shows up, we'll kind of just start from scratch here and show the beginning part and such. It says I got 3 people watching. I am 1. Who are the other 2? Who's here? What's up? Okay. So I definitely still have to trim out some of his talking but not talking parts. I think I'll pop up my phone like this, so if he does show up, I'll see his message. Yeah, that works. Okay.
Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
Yeah, so I like to cut out any moments where there's like an or an a mistake of some sort, something like that. So I think we just heard one.
Of 1936.
Yeah, because he didn't say the actual date, so we can get rid of the on. But did he say in, though? I might have to find somewhere in the video where it says in and just plug it in there.
24th of 1930.
Oh, wait, he said already. No, yeah, I could just cut out the on because he already said the on.
September 24th.
Yeah, come on, I'm trying to go back a little more than that.
Was born September 24th. Was born September 24th.
Yeah, so like right here, we're gonna put a little add marker
of 1930.
And then I could do this to here, do cut, delete the marker, rewind it a bit to test it out.
Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
See that? That's how you fix that shit.
He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, see, we can just cut this out.
He did a lot.
Not sure how much space we'll want to leave for in between talking. Spaces are nice.
36. He did a lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot. I've done this. I scripted this in a whole afternoon.
Basically, if you see a straight line, you can probably cut that. Depending on the pacing and sentences and stuff like that.
I scripted this in a whole afternoon. A lot of time, I know.
You probably should just cut like all this part, because I think it just kind of slows down the whole thing. What I might end up doing is placing markers and having it separate at those portions to make it easier later on.
Part 1. Exterior. That's in the draft is what it's on his head. Tails and E. Open. And I'll have part 5. Cheap 3D Muppet Vision as a whole is now gone.
Yeah, I'm going to separate these two, just to make it easier. It's a lot easier to edit a giant, well, to edit smaller clips. So if you have a giant clip and you make them smaller, it's easier to zoom in and look at things because there's less of a zoom.
When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one option of Muppet Vision. Filming began in The Muppets
Part 5?
with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, Henson passed away before it was completely finished. This led to the delay. When it opened, it only included Muppet Vision. A few years after But a lot of references to the Muppets were removed from the area even a long time before the closing of Muppet. Almost 15 minutes long. So cool. The Muppet Show is probably going to be removed for the most part, just throughout the parks as a whole. Part 4.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we got 4, we got 5, and I think this is 1, 2, and 3.
Part 1.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So we gotta find where 2 is and where 3 is.
It had a sitcom, what it is, and it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew from the Labyrinth show, Biggie, almost the last fun of it. And then again, it had still that attack of Muppet Vision.
Where is this?
Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances.
That looks like one right there.
Part 2, the production.
Okay, so I'm just gonna find where part 3 starts.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming was The Fountain. This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the...
I might move the chat. Since no one's even talking at the moment anyway. Because it's kind of blocking part that I'm actually using. Let's see here. Might be better. Shit, is this whole thing part 5? Christ. Okay, so this is add marker, delete marker, cut region. Those are things I think you couldn't see before.
Part 4, The Muppets...
4. I don't know, we're looking for 2 and 3.
It still came out.
Oh, oh man, what a perfect fucking... Okay, right there. Alright, so we got part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now that I've chunked it up like this, it'll be a lot easier to trim each individual part.
Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. He did a lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot. I've done this. I scripted this in a whole afternoon. A lot of time, I know. But the Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends. And then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 1969.
We could add in some more stuff. I want to see what he wants to say about that.
He started incorporating his Muppets characters, namely Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. Characters, namely...
We don't need any uhs or ums. Cut them all out. Unless it really fits the sentence structure, but I doubt it. There's only like 1 or 2, maybe the entire video.
Sesame Street in 1969. He started incorporating his Muppets characters, namely Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Fozzie, a lot of the well-known characters, and they quickly jumped to popularity above almost everybody else. He then recorded almost everybody else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in and recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976, and it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and one of created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth.
See, if we had an and in there, I think it would make a lot more sense. I might just leave a spot for that. I kind of want to place a marker so it does a cut so I'll know where to do it.
One of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth.
Did he literally just say and right here? I think he says and right there. Okay, so maybe I don't need the and then. Because it's a 3-part.
Films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel slash prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout all of media. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, you know, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. And then the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started.
I might have to keep this in for continuity. No, okay, he started putting his hair first.
By Disney, they started doing the Muppets again.
Oh, okay, he doesn't keep it on. There's literally putting it up in part 2. So this is something where we could just kind of cover this. This might have been like a nervous tick or something. So if we put some kind of image in front of all this, which is very easy based on just anything he's talking about, then you won't even know that he did that.
But in 2000,
These are long pauses.
the Muppets again. But they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had
See, just works so much better without the spaces.
been acquired by Disney. They started doing. Then after they had been acquired by Disney. They had been acquired by Disney. They had been acquired by Disney. They started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release. Then
It sounds kind of choppy when I did it like that. I'm going to have to smooth that over later on.
been acquired by Disney. They started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011,
Maybe I'll just have him re-record that line, then we can just insert it here.
they had a film release. Then they had a sequel. And then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short, like
No, you don't need the word like either.
mini movies. Short mini movies. Short mini movie. A bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. movies and just and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where like they're kind of where they were in the '90s, but still where like they're kind of where they were in the '90s, but still kind of more popular.
Some of these posters are okay because they give the audience time to maybe process what was being said.
Popular. The success of the Muppets in the '80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios.
I don't like, and I'll have to talk to him before I move this around, but I don't like he talks about like the whole history and then goes back to the 80s right now. But I don't know if it would make much more sense the other way because he's about to talk about why the ride exists, or not ride, but attraction.
They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3. Importantly, Muppet.
I might want to swap that.
Most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. 3D. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. Part 2, the
Oh, there you are. No problem.
I just went ahead and, well, I guess you didn't really see what I did in the first place. But at the beginning of this stream, all you missed was I chopped up. Essentially, what I did the first time was made the intro, right? So then what I did today so far is chop up the rest of it into the parts that it is. And then through part 1, I was just cutting out all your ums and spaces. We did have a few questions as to should we reorder some things? Should we re-record some lines? Just to make it sound a little bit smoother. But I want to show you. Can you see that, or do I need to now move the chat? Probably. Okay, for this, I think I'm going to move the chat back to where it was. And then when I'm editing, I'll move it to where it currently is. Alright. So if you look here, you saw the video that I sent you, which was just basically the intro. Is this supposed to be like this? I don't think that's supposed to be like that. Is this part 1 right here? I guess we'll see when I do it. But anyway, So this is what it looks like when you actually do different layers. So we've got here so far 4 different layers. I don't know if I need all 4. But we definitely, I think I could technically move these up and we'll only have 3. But yeah, this is what it looks like, and you want to get the exact spots of where you want them and such like that. So when it first starts,
The beloved.
I took, if you see, there's actually, can you see that? Yeah, you can. I cut, this is 3 different parts here. I took you saying the, and then beloved, and then Muppet, courtyard?
Area Muppet Courtyard.
Yeah, Muppet area courtyard. So that whole thing. So, and then I put the black background because otherwise this picture wasn't big enough to cover the whole screen. So the screen's here, this purple. So those 3 layers with those, what is that, 5 items make up this intro. The sub-intro, as I called it.
Area Muppet Courtyard. Hi everyone, my name is Finn, and I like talking about whatever comes to my stupid little mind. I do.
See, right there, you had a little, you did an or something, and then you started reading. So I figured we'll just cut that completely. And then we go into
At D23 2024, an event where the Walt
got 2 different pictures.
Disney Company announces their upcoming movies, TV shows.
Now here's one I could probably put, I was doing this quickly, I could probably put the black background here again to cover you here. Kind of would make more sense. I probably should just do that. So all I have to do is click Control C when I'm clicked on it, and then Control V, and I'll paste a copy of it. And then I'll just take this and I'll just line it up here. Usually when you're scrolling something like that, it will like auto match up with whatever's near it. But if you're having issues with that, what you can do is right click, cursor movement, cursor to end or beginning, depending on what you're trying to do. And then it'll go to the whatever you were clicked on. So I was clicked on this and went to the end of that. And then you can very easily just match them up. Another way you could do it is just having something already in the spot. So see how I can't drag this more to the right because there's something there blocking it. So that's one way to do it too. I'm just going to undo the things that I did in case I did something weird. I don't think I did, but just to be sure. Okay, so there we go. Black background's not behind this. It'll cover the whole screen. We can actually go here too, because this picture also did not cover the whole screen.
Things inside their theme parks. They announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc.
And this one also didn't completely cover it, so we could just drag this to the end of this picture. I'm just gonna save it real quick. Question, shoot. If I were to try and add like clips or something, how could I do it without the audio of the clip? Oh, very easy. Very easy and a very good question. So, I'll just take something, for example, let's see what I've got here. Okay, here is my new to Marvel Rivals video. I'm going to put it into the video. Where did it insert it? Okay, it inserted it right here. Now, first of all, you got to understand layers. The top layer is what you will visually see. So see how if I click into here, you can't see the whole video. You can only see that little portion. It's because it's layers being stacked. So the bottom layer is your video, and then on top of that is the black background. So that's what you would see over it as long as it covers it. If you don't want it to cover it, you can actually move it and it won't cover it. Then it is my video that I just put in there. So that's why you can see the little corner right there. And then it's the picture I inserted. And then this top layer is currently blank where we are. But I can move stuff around. Like this probably doesn't need to be the way it's set up, but it's whatever. It's causing it to have a giant space of layer on other spots. All right, so now here, my video is here. Why don't we, so here we are. If we only want the beginning of it, there you go. Now it's only the beginning of it. If you want it to be at the top, there you go. Now it's at the top. If I want both of them playing at the same time.
Out of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces.
Okay, so you can hear both of them, right? So then what you want to do is go, oh, no, I don't want to hear both of them. You want to right click on it. You go to audio effects, and you're going to do, amplitude, and you're going to do silence. And then it's going to ask you where in this video do you want it to be silent. So if you want the entire thing to be silent, like you said, you want whole parent duration, then you click OK. And then you can just go back to your scene. You're going to want to zoom in again, unfortunately. And then from where you are,
So they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of content.
There you go. So you can't hear me talking at all whatsoever, but you can still see my whole video. And then if you were like, but I only want like the left side of the video in the video, that's fine. You can do that.
So they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed.
You just got to understand where this purple line is. That is everything in between the purple line is what's going to be in the video. So you see all this outside here, black, it doesn't matter. I just made it bigger so that way it would cover the whole screen. I didn't even do it to the exact, you could be all anal like that and make sure it fits perfectly, but you don't need to do that. It's not necessary. Anything outside the purple will not be a part of the video. Oh, of course. No problem. If you want to do like a Instagram call or something, so that way it's easier for you to interrupt me because I'm not always looking at the chat. Might be easier for us to have a conversation about editing the video and such. All right, so now we just want to get rid of my video completely. Boom. Yeah, so like I said, there's a giant... This layer is completely blank for most of it. It doesn't need to be that way. So the problem is this picture up here. And then now this picture here. So you got to be careful when you're doing what I'm about to do. So what I'm going to do is it carefully. What I want to do is just condense the spaces so that way we cut down to like only 4 layers. It's not really necessary, but you might want to do it just to make it easier for editing. Because when you start to go nuts on a video, like I have, you can have fucking 20 layers all, and then you have to scroll on the bar down here just to find something, and it gets really annoying. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the video where I did us playing football. Yeah, that was a bitch to do. With all the different layers at one time. So there was so many different things going on the screen. We had the actual video itself. Sometimes I would put in a video of the video. Sometimes I constantly had the score going for my team, the score going for the other team. We had the set of downs. We had, at some points, it was the referee clock. It was just all kinds of things all at once on the screen. So anything you'll see at one time or here will be a different layer. So when you have too many, it gets annoying. So I don't really need to do it, so I won't do it. But if it gets confusing, what you want to do is do a careful one. So you're going to go to cursor ends. That way, when you drag something, you know you're not moving the placement of it like this. So see, I want to drag it down a layer. But if I didn't do cursor end and I just did like that, I just pulled down, it might do a wrong spot. And then everything's not lined up. So if you do the cursor end, then I can just have it auto-click into the red line. But realistically, more the problem is these over here. So I'm going to do a cursor end. And then you can multi-highlight by dragging across them like that. And then drag them up. Okay, so then again, this is now a problem. I'm going to do cursor end on this one. Alright, and then I'm going to drag all these down. Just one. Boop. Alright, and then now we've got a problem over here. I said I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm doing it anyway. I think it's a little bit better to do on a bigger one. See, if I could do the beginning or I could do the end. I feel like the bigger one's just easier to do. And I'm going to drag all these down perfectly. Boom. And now we got rid of the top layer. So now we only need 3 layers. Make sense? Or we're only using 3 layers because we only need 3 layers. Okay, so wherever we were in the video, we should continue. Oh. I don't remember where we were. Oh, see, I didn't even see that you said something. Also, this is more of just a computer question, but I'm not great with computers. How could I upload footage from my phone onto my desktop? Well, yeah, okay, the easiest way to do that is, I mean, you could do it a few different ways, but the easiest way I think of is uploading to your own YouTube. Here, I'll show you. So if I go to, okay, so channel content, so these are all my videos. So if they are private, you guys can't even see it. So this was my stream yesterday where I started streaming and then you said you were busy. So I just uploaded it as a private video so no one will see it. I've got a Rocket League video that nobody cares about. Nobody will see it. That kind of thing. It's private. Then down here you see unlisted. That means that only people with the link can watch it. So if you upload to your own YouTube channel and you put it as private, and then you go to this right here and click download, it will then just save it as a video. And then you have the video and then you can insert it into the video editor, and then same thing that I did with my own video. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, if you want to call and make it easier to interrupt me, you can. Because the chat, you can't see what I'm looking at, but the chat is like off the screen, or it's on the other screen super tiny. So I don't really see that you are sending anything. All right, where were we? We were at the Monsters Inc. part. Yeah, okay, so I added the black background. And just stop me if you see anything that you want to edit slightly or ask questions about.
Land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard. If you don't know, that's the little area that has like the Disney.
Okay, so I just saw right there your hand waving across. We should probably do a black background for that, which is then going to create a fourth layer. No, not necessarily, because these don't cover. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So what we're going to do is Control Copy, Control Paste. It now creates another layer, but that's not a big deal, because what I'm going to do is just resize this anyway. And then once I move it to a layer, there's nothing in that layer. It auto deletes an empty layer. All right, so what we want to do is this video? Yeah, this picture and this picture are not the full thing. So we could click on the picture itself and drag it, but that would resize it or crop off pieces of it. So we don't want to do that. What we're going to do is just move them up. Here I'm going to do move cursor to end. I'm going to double pull, and I'm going to drag this to where it was, and then it'll probably auto-click, so let's see. Yeah, it auto-clicks, so I don't have to worry about doing the resizing. Cursor to beginning and so on. All right, let's try that. Also, save every once in a while. I've had so many videos where, you know, it depends on your computer, but like you're in the middle of it, you haven't saved in like 20 minutes, and then fuck, your computer just takes a shit and doesn't want to work. You have to restart it, and then those 20 minutes are gone, and you got to redo whatever those 20 minutes were. Really sucks. I actually have an entire Friday the 13th video basically completed, dead on a computer that now won't turn on. I'm pretty bummed about that one. All right, let's see.
Being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard. If you don't know, that's the little area that has like the Disney Junior show, a Star Wars store, you can get the same merch inside of the Star Wars land at the same park, and then the Little Mermaid show. And going into November of 2024, that's the Mermaid show.
Oh,
and
okay.
going
so this is
in
another one. The Little Mermaid show also had the sides I cut off. So I'm just going to do copy and paste. Drag over here, go to the end of it, drag it, auto clicks to like the nearest one, depending on how big your scroll bar is. If you zoom out, it might not go to it. If you zoom in, it makes it incredibly easier to match it up, but then there's you gotta scroll through so much more. So somewhere around here is where you want to be for the size while you're editing. If you're just watching it, you can just have it all the way here. That's fine. But if you're actually doing stuff within this part, you're going to want to be somewhere around here. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, okay. I keep forgetting where I move the chat to.
to November 2024, that's what everybody believed it would be taking over. And then they announced that it would be taking over the fan favorite area, Muppet Courtyard.
Okay, so that's pretty easy. I just put the picture, layers and such. I only wanted part of it on there, because otherwise we'd have to do the beginning part with the black, and I thought it was fine because you're still in the middle of a sentence.
Muppet Courtyard was the area where they had Muppet Vision, and they said starting June 8th, it would be closing permanently.
We could do like a tiny little picture. I was thinking about doing that, like between here and here, of like a sign that says closed or something, but I thought this had about the same effect of just cutting the black.
Closing permanently. This came as a shock to many because it was, as I said, beloved.
Now, in the original video, you didn't say beloved prior. You used a synonym, and that was like, huh. I don't know if he meant to do it like that. So when I did the sub intro, I made sure you said beloved. So now, at that point in the video, you're not lying. But if you don't like that, we can take that out. It's not a big deal. Sad Kermit the Frog, where it says closing permanent. Yeah, dude, I'm so bummed when they close shit in general. Like, if you're a Muppet fan,
you're losing Muppet Vision and that whole area, but they are going to, as you said later in this video, make Aerosmith Ride into something Muppets. So at least you're keeping that. But then we're losing the Aerosmith Ride. That ride's awesome. So I don't know, man. They have the space. I don't know why they get rid of rides at all. It's stupid.
It's done as of.
But still, we're losing Muppet Vision permanently. That's fucking stupid. At least, I will say, like, it sucks that we're losing Muppet Vision, but at least that's like a show that you could just watch online versus a ride where you're not going to get the same effect just watching online. I'm hoping they reopen it near Aerosmith thing because there's a theater that is perfect for Muppet Vision. What theater? Oh, you're talking about where they do the Cars ride, or the Cars theater thing. I keep calling everything a fucking ride. It's annoying. But yeah, I remember that little area. They could do that, but I doubt they will. I don't know. It would be nice. They have all the stuff. I don't know how tough it is to just move shit. That's a good idea.
Recording this is closed around 2 days ago. And
So there's a few little pauses in there too. All right, so you weren't here when I was cutting out your uhs, ums, and pauses. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is it right here. Whenever you see like this straight line, that's basically dead silence. These are going to be you talking. Make sense? Upload it to Disney Plus. Well, there are some pretty good ones online on YouTube already, and that's what I was going to probably use to replace your not puppet show at the end. We'll just take still images of whatever you're talking about and put that on the screen instead. So where were you just doing some ums and pauses? I think it was just pauses, because I should have already cut out all your uhs and ums.
11.
Oh, nope, there's one right there.
But it's done as.
Oh, I left that one in because I felt it kind of fit your feeling in the next sentence. You know what I mean? It felt
More unscripted.
It actually flowed nicely, so I left that one. If you want to take it out, we can. It's very easy. You just want to go to the beginning of it, you do that, and then you do cut. You're not going to do it right there, right here, because I would cut off something. See, like any bit of, I don't know, diagonals is going to be some kind of noise. The straight lines are silence.
Done as of recording this is. But it's done as of recording.
See that? You didn't go dead silent. You dragged out the word, and that's why it's a little bumpy. Depending on if you had already finished the word and like if it was the end of the word that you're dragging out. Okay, no, I did it wrong.
What's a word that ends in like?
Okay, all right. If you dragged it out, then we can cut off the end of it and it won't make a difference. But if you're dragging out the middle like I did with the out, and we cut out, and you're not going to have the whole word. But you could potentially, if you go in there and you go super zoomed in and you snipe out the dragged out portion, you might be able to make it sound normal. You know what I mean? Sort of.
As of recording this.
Actually, it did sound like you dragged it. Yeah, okay, hold on. We might be able to fix this.
As of recording.
Yeah, so if I just, let's see what it sounds like. So we're just going to go right here. We do this. We do a cut. And just see if it sounds more natural.
As of recording this, it's closed.
That's not bad. I think I'll just leave that.
Around 2 days ago.
And then here you got some straight lines, basically straight lines. Might be able to just cut that out completely.
It's closed around 2 days.
Because you were thinking, but we can cut that out and it'll sound like reading from the script immediately kind of thing.
I like to leave in some spaces depending on the sentence, and the uhs and the ums depending on the sentence, like over here.
But for the most part, you can get rid of them.
Closed around 2 days ago.
See how it just kind of flows more naturally?
As of recording this, it's closed around 2 days.
We could probably still trim off a little bit more of the over here, but whatever.
As of recording this, it's closed around 2 days ago. And
I fully scripted it, but I'd say about 20% was just improv.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. And that's what's kind of cool. Sometimes it feels more like emotional if you are improvising it. So I did leave in a few of those because I could feel more your emotion than reading from it. But still, you had a lot of emotion when you were reading from the script. So I did like that too, because not a lot of people will read them and actually care about what they're reading about. They'll just read it like this, and it's very monotone and boring. Did you know that Finn was editing this or made this video, and then Zach was editing it? You know, that kind of thing. It doesn't sound like they give a fuck about what they're reading at all. I hate that shit. That's like almost an instant. I'm clicking off. I don't care. I'll go watch something else.
Around 2 days ago, and I've decided, since I love this attraction so much, I would go back.
I love that you wore the shirt, by the way, too. You didn't have to do that. That was a good tip or addition.
And just do a brief history of it.
See, I left in that pause too, but we could take that out. There's a lot of pauses in here. I did leave. Or it feels like there's a lot, but there's probably not that many. All right, so
Of it.
what just happened?
Recording this is closed around 2 days ago, and I've decided, since I love this attraction so much, I would go back and just do a brief history of it. To do this, I've divided
Oh, that's not supposed to be like that. Okay.
easily in history of it.
I think you had a giant. Yeah, look, you're looking somewhere else. You had a giant pause, so I just cut it out, and for some reason it divided them. It depends on how I cut it. If you cut it and leave the marker, I don't think I explained that to you. Hold on, let me show you. So if you go up here, all right. Well, first of all, you got to click on the little clip. So this right here is its own clip. If you click on the clip, right click on it, then right click it. Do both. Cutting and splitting. So that's what pulls up the cutting and splitting screen, right? I'm just going to keep it over here because I think the chat's over here and I don't want to block it. So this right here is add marker, and then there's delete marker, there's cut region, and there's restore region. Okay, so these are pretty important. You want to zoom in so that we can see what the fuck you're doing. And that's why I chop these parts up into different parts, so that way it's easier to edit a clip. Otherwise, if it's one big video, you have to zoom in so much more, you have to scroll so much more because it's a bigger video, and you're zoomed in, such like that. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do is show you how... Okay, so a marker is just for your own personal reference if you need it. So if, let's say I wanted to cut from here to here, and I went and I listened to it perfectly, and I go, this is the spot I want. I don't want to fuck it up. But I don't know where I want to do something else. So I'm going to listen to it.
To do this,
Oh, I don't like what he said there. I'm going to cut that out. So now I can cut from here. And since I have the marker, you just want to line it up. And then you do cut region. All right, so now it's cut. But I left the marker. Is that going to make a difference? Yes. So if I were to click apply changes, it's going to then close. And it might ask me if I want to divide where the marker is. But what I usually just do so I don't have that accidentally is I usually just delete the marker once I'm done cutting a region. And if you cut something and then you decide you want it back, you can click restore region and it'll put it right back. I'm also just not going to save. There we go. So everything I just did was just to show you. It didn't mean anything. Oh, see, you said shit. I need to get a mic for next time. I found a few wireless ones that seem good. I have no experience with wireless mics, but depending on how much you want to spend, the one I am currently using, it was like $50 on Amazon. It might be a little bit less. I definitely recommend it, but I don't know how good wireless ones are. But I'm sure you can probably find a good one at this point. What do the different layers do, like with the clips you're editing? Because I see some of it's one layer, but another is on a different layer. Does that affect what you see here? Are you talking about on the screen that I'm currently on right now? Where's the chat? Yeah, chat's up in the top left, so this doesn't block anything. Okay. All right, yeah, these layers are everything you see in here. Okay, so if you see a blue something, that's a video. If you see a purple something, that's a picture. You can also do text. Like I was thinking about doing where you say part 1, part 2. I was thinking about just covering you up completely with a black screen and then just doing a text. So you click text from cursor position, and then you just do a drag, and then you type whatever. So we can do part 1. And we would just leave that up there. And then if you wanted to have both of them as separate titles, which might be what I end up doing, and you want them to come up at separate times, you have them as two different text documents. So you're going to have one pop up, part 1, and then once you start saying the other thing, you can have the other thing pop up, so you just have to line up where they're going to be. And then the other question for layers is you want to understand from bottom to top actually does make a difference. The bottom will not be seen if something is covering it above it. The top is the most important layer for visuals. If it's audio, it doesn't make a difference.
Like toward the right, I was going to ask about the part 1. I have an idea for if I can send you like a background I have in mind. Could you?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, very easy, very easy.
So you just send it to me.
What's the best way to send it to me? If you want to send me a link to it, and then I can download it
To have the best quality of the image, email it over to me, I guess.
Yeah, that probably works the best.
Or just tell me what to search.
If you found it off of like a
Google Images or something.
If not, you could probably just send it to me over Instagram, and then I can email it to myself, whatever the image is. Actually, no, you can just email me the image, depending on if you're on the computer or on your phone.
Yeah, whatever it is, just
We'll figure it out.
I think I'll keep this for now. I'm just gonna drag this to the bottom. So if you ever have anything visual and you're not sure if you're gonna use it later on, but you don't want to delete it, just drag it to the very bottom and it won't even be visible. Won't make a difference. And then look, see how it's gigantic? It's now being covered by everything in the entire video. So it's there, you just can't see it. And you gotta understand too that with layers, it's harder to click on things. Like, okay, you see where this is? It's perfectly covering your mouth. If I go up here now, and then I try to click on it, I can't click on it. What you have to do is click on it here, and then you can do whatever. Oh, no, you still can't even. Sorry, I lied. All right, so what you would have to do is probably move it up to wherever you would be able to, then you can move it, and then you can move it back. And then see it's now still over there. I'm just going to undo a couple times because I liked where it was. Undo one more time. All right, so we're going to leave it there, but I'm going to make it a lot smaller. And if you have something that is like parts, and we're going to do part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, easiest way to do that is to just do copy pastes a bunch and then just rename that one little portion of it. So we'll do, change the 1 to a 2 and so on.
All right, you have sent me something. Let me see what you got. Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good picture. All right, so what I'm going to do is download it. And hopefully the quality still looks good when we put it onto the big screen. Let me see. All right, I'm going to email it to... yeah, this one's fine. Sent from iPhone. And from Finn. Muppets. Forgot to fucking attach it. All I do is just send a blank email. Alright, let me try that again. Wait, how do I attach it on this part? Can I not attach something? This... the fuck? Alright, fine, let me do it this way. Email. There we go. To Zach. Muppets. Finn. For real this time. Okay. Alright, so I emailed it to myself.
Just gonna pop up a new window.
Drag it over here. You guys don't need to see my email. Okay, there we go. And this one's just funny because it's completely blank. Okay, let's hope this picture actually looks good quality still when brought big. Sometimes, first of all, phones, and then second, Instagram will lower the quality exponentially. But if it does look bad, and you know where you got that image, we can just get it again. Okay, image downloaded, delete that.
Alright, so it's going to be downloads. And then
What I was just doing was... oh. One little tip I've got for you.
when you're editing a video and you have all these assets, so these are video, this was your video that I chopped up, we've got images that I downloaded, all this stuff that you're putting into it, I recommend keeping it in one folder.
So once it's downloaded,
move it into a separate folder.
I'll show you the folder I've got right here.
Finn's
Muppet video.
There it is. So this is all the assets I've been using so far. I keep it in one folder So that way, if there's some kind of issue and I want to go back and re-edit it, but I deleted some of the stuff, the computer's going to look for it all in the same spot that it came from. So if I dragged it from this folder, this is where I want to put it back. Does that make sense? You just have to name it the same thing that it was. And the names are on here. So if you do have to replace an image, like let's say I delete this Monsters Inc. picture, and then we save the video, we export it, it makes it into the video, I upload it, and then something is bad about the video and we got to redo it. When I go back, open this, open file, it's going to say, hey, this file is missing, this picture. Do you want to find it or whatever? So what you're going to want to do is put the picture back in there. Or if it does pop up with a do you want to find it, you got to show it where it actually is. Stuff like that. But anyway, it's just a lot easier if it's all in one folder to drag it into the one spot. Because I've had that many times where I thought I was done with the video, and then I have to go back and do something else, and then either I deleted the original picture or the video, or I moved it from that folder because I thought I was done with it, and it's really annoying. So just that's a pretty good tip, is to put it all in one folder. And what I might end up doing is when I'm done editing, I'm going to take this whole folder. So I'll just take this right here, and I will put it onto a terabyte, and then if I have an issue, I'll bring the folder back onto here. It's much easier than getting all the different files. And then another little random one is you might need a folder like this for just any kind of video that I edit. I have a big black background if I want to fill in black space. I've got a smaller one if I want to do smaller space. I've got gray if I want to do gray instead. I've got TV static as a picture. I've got TV static as a video shorter than this one. Stuff like that, where it's just like, okay, I'm going to use these frequently. I should probably just keep this folder somewhere on the computer. And then I like to put this one in there every once in a while. If there's like some kind of space. It's fun. I love that. It's a good movie. Anyway, so
This is all your assets so far. I'm going to take the picture you just gave me.
I'm going to drag it into the folder, moving it from one place to the other because I don't need it over there anymore. And here's the picture you just sent me. So yeah, see how it was big and now it's smaller? We'll see how it looks in the video. If we have an issue, we might be able to just find it again. So you want this where you say parts and then so on. So we're going to need it like 5 times, but I'm just going to drag it down once and we'll copy and paste it once we get the right size. So I drag it into there, it throws it in. When you throw in an image the way I just did it, it makes it gigantic. All you got to do is just scroll it down. It's not a big deal. It's a little annoying, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so I think we're about done with the sub-intro and intro, right? I'm just going to save it because I haven't in a while.
It's closed around 2 days ago, and I've decided, since I love this attraction,
I just searched up Muppet Vision background in case you need to search. Okay, sounds good.
so
Yeah, that might actually be quicker next time than
Sending it? Let's see.
what did you say? Muppet Vision background. And we do images, and then we see if we... Yep, there's the picture right there. Yeah, that might be easier. I'm actually going to keep this open in case we want to add in some other pictures. You and I can look through and see if we find something that looks good for something. All right.
much, I would go back and just do a brief history of it. To do this, I've divided it into an easily internet-friendly numbered list.
We can probably cut out a tiny bit more there where you're reaching for the camera and such. Like I said the other day, I was editing this really quickly, so I didn't care and I left it. Up to you. This is your video ultimately. We do whatever you want to do. But the part 1 starts right here, and I separated it because I was planning to probably do some kind of image while you say part 1 and so on. Yeah, so this doesn't line up. If you look carefully, for some reason, it's not by much, the beginning of this video is overlaying this part, and it's probably not going to make a difference here, but you just want to watch out for shit like that, because I didn't mean for that to happen. I don't know when that happened. So I'm just going to drag it up here. Shit, that's annoying. Ugh, bitch. Probably easiest way to do it is just go to the back of the train and just move everything, and then just fix that later on. Okay, so now they should be lined up because I did the cursor end of that one, so it should match up exactly where it is. Remember when I said we're going to want to copy and paste these? Yeah, well, it's a lot easier to do that once they're smaller, so I'm going to delete these extra ones. I'm going to resize this, and then I'll copy and paste the smaller ones. Oh, they already are smaller? Jesus. Well, still, I want to make them smaller than that. Reaching, but it's up to you. Yeah, it's super easy. Here, I'll show you, and I'll let you decide where exactly we do it. So here's the clip.
It into an easily internet-friendly numbered list.
See, we can stop it right there. We can stop it before you even look over there. Nope, because you're talking. Yes, that's probably where we'd have to stop it. I'm going to put the marker, just so I know where it is. It's very easy to delete it if I don't want it later on. I just like the fade to black. That was the only reason I was really leaving it.
List.
But it's fine. It could just be a harsh cut to black. It doesn't make a difference.
Numbered list.
Alright, so I want to match up with this. You're just going to do cut, boom, it's gone.
List.
I could probably cut off a little bit more too. Yeah, so you open your mouth, but you open your mouth again, but you don't say anything, so we don't need that in there.
Numbered list.
Okay, so now, remember when I moved the train, as I called it? I didn't need to, because now it's all over here. But we also could leave a little space, just to give a tiny bit of a buffer in between. Like I said, I liked your fade to black. I thought that was really good. Now, you could not have a picture there. That's fine. And you see how it still shows the text? I like to put a picture in there anyway, because it's much easier for moving around in bulk. You know what I mean? Like, if we wanted to move multiple things, there's nothing here that might cause a mistake later on. So I usually just put a black screen there instead. I don't think it makes any difference when you're exporting the video because it's a black screen. Very easy to do for it. So it's like, I think it's just setting yourself up to not have a mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and do probably just a tiny bit of cut to black. So while we do silence, and then once you start saying the part, we'll cut to the picture. Because otherwise I feel like it's...
Friendly numbered list.
I don't know. It's your call, actually, because...
It's no longer fading to black.
So do you want it to just be a harsh cut to the image? Is that going to look good?
To an easily internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1.
Where's the picture? Oh, right. I put the picture in the wrong spot.
Numbered list. Part 1. Oh.
That's up to you. Do you like that? Does that look good? I'm going to shrink this down. Okay. Alright, so we'll just leave it like that. So then we want to do is put the image above it. Or I'm sorry, the text above the image above the video. So that way you hear the video, you'll see the text, and then right behind it you'll see the image.
Part 1. Oh.
Now we can make this bigger, we can make it smaller, we can change the color, whatever you want to do with the text, you let me know.
Numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson.
Is this picture not fully there? It looked like I could see yellow at the top.
A really brief
You see that? Yeah, there's definitely...
history of the Muppets.
This picture is ever so slightly too small. So what we could just do... Just a slight bit of resize. So we're just going to cut off this little bit here. It's not a big difference. But just so...
Part 1.
Oh, see it now. It's on that side. I'm just going to line it back up with the purple line. Alright, that should be good.
Really brief.
No, it's not good. What the fuck? What's going on here? Did I not go any bit this way? Holy shit, bro. Also, is the picture supposed to be this blurry? Open image in new tab. Open link in new tab? Take me to the video? Okay, alright. Yeah, hold on a second. Open image in new tab. Look at that versus look at that. Let's get this instead. So, sure. Call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. Where did that just save, actually? Hold on a second. Downloads. Okay, good. That's where we want it. Alright. Well, it's a good thing we changed that. So what we're going to do... Downloads... Going to pull up your... asset folder. Let's go ahead and delete this one. Unless you would prefer this slightly blurry one. I don't know how much delay you're on, but for me it was like 10 seconds. I gotta watch the clock. I got 2 more hours on high voltage. Now the higher quality is better. Yep, let's do it. Alright, cool. So we're just gonna go ahead and delete this. We don't want it. We don't care about it. It's fine. Drag this over here. And we're just gonna put it in here. Alright, look at that. I wonder if it's gonna fit the screen now too.
History of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson.
No, it looks like I don't know if you could tell. It's showing the tiny bit at the bottom of the screen, but it actually is better the yellow than the black, or the black than the yellow. Holy shit! Why does it do this? I wonder if there's a setting I can go in and be like, hey, whenever I insert an image, can you not make it gigantic, please? Because I would do that, but I have not been looking around for it, and I don't know if that's a thing, so I haven't cared. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and delete this one, and then we're going to put this where it was, so that way part 1's up there. Alright, what color do you want part 1 to be in? Go and save.
List. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson.
And then what... Okay, so I have the cursor right here. So when I pop up cutting and splitting, it keeps the cursor at that moment. It's very easy to go in and do divisions of that. So I just did that right there. So now this is 2 separate videos. Makes it easier to just find spots for things in black. All right, yeah, let's take a look at black and see how that looks. So we want to double click on it. We want to highlight it. We want to go to text color, do black. Thoughts, size, you don't want to do this. I mean, you want to start with that, but if you want to actually change the size of it, you want to highlight and go to the point size, like that. And then where exactly do you want to put it? Centered on him. What do you think? Also, if you think it kind of conflicts with the picture, you can put, I think it's this one here. You could put a color background like that. Squared off. So you said perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and undo the red. But yeah, if you want to do something like that, you could. And then I usually like to resize it back to where it's supposed to be, just for funsies. Symmetry and all that nonsense. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save it. So the next question is, should we have pictures during all of this dialogue?
Jim Henson.
Because right now this is what we got.
Internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson.
Whoops, I shouldn't have done that.
List. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
Did you see the little cut I had right there? Before you got on, I was cutting out your spaces as and ums. But if you watch them, so you can see where it is based on that little arrow. And then if you watch you,
24th of 19.
You jump a little bit because I just cut it out and you were moving during the jump. Alright, so how often do you want to be shown? How often, like the picture to you ratio, we got to figure that out. Because did you think at the beginning there was too many pictures, not enough you, or too much of you still, or what did you feel when we were going through the intro and sub-intro? Because we could technically cover the whole thing with pictures, but I thought it was nice to leave in some of you talking because it made it more personal. I like pictures more. So you want more pictures than there were before. Do you want me to go in and add pictures to the beginning at all? Like when you're talking here, we can put anything you want at all whatsoever. beginning's fine. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and drag all of this back here to there. Match it up. Okay, so far, your video is what, like?
It wasn't 30 minutes, was it?
Hold on, I've got the video. So if I right click, go to properties, I go to details, without even opening the video, I can see your video is 24 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, if we look right here, the video is what, around 23 minutes and 55 seconds. So I've
Cut out almost a minute of spaces and just you saying either incorrect things that you then fixed or anything of that nature. Help explain my points better if you get what No, 100%. I get what you mean.
that's what Alyssa and I were watching it too, and she agreed that like the pictures
Add more context to your words
and make it easier to process everything that you're saying, because you kind of do at certain moments give a lot of information at once, and just nice little pictures gonna help. All right, we're gonna take a quick bathroom break.
So I will be right back. All right, I'm back.
What were we doing? We were working on the part images and then talking about how much you want in terms of pictures to you talking.
Ratio. I think that's fine. If you want to cover the entire video, we can do that. You just got to figure out what you want to be on the screen.
So you help me with that, and I will help you with doing it. All right. Let's just back up. I like to save everyone, so Jesus fuck. I like to just rewatch whatever I was last working on to get back into that frame mind of what I want to do in that moment.
List. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson.
Do you see at the bottom there? I don't know. I think we should probably just put a black background. There might be some viewer who gets bothered by that, just like I do. So I'm going to go ahead and just put... Shit. I'd like to have an extra layer, actually. Hold on. Let's drag this up. And then put this here. And then... Cursor to end. There. Now they're all in line. Whoops. Yeah, so you don't fucking click that button. Click this button.
Numbered list. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
Oh, it's showing the black bar there too.
He did a lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot.
Is your video not the right size? Did I drag it up accidentally? Because if I drag this up, it's going to be black. What the fuck?
I've done this. I scripted this
I
in
don't
a
know if you
whole
can see what I'm
afternoon.
talking about. It's
A lot of time, I know.
It bothers me.
But the Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends.
And then how much?
Of your ad-libbing do you want to take out too? Because
We could do whatever. I don't know if you're here. You might be running and doing something at the moment too.
Jim Henson was born.
Whoa, why are these all different sizes? I don't like that shit. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Is that great? There we go. Yeah, I agree. That's why for the... I don't know if most part is the right word, but for some of them I was definitely leaving them.
Alright, here's what we're going to do. It also makes it feel less high quality. Yeah, agreed. We got to find that happy balance. That's why some of them I just took out. I figured you would agree. We can always throw them back in. And some of them I left in because I felt they were natural. And then again, if you disagreed, we can take them out pretty easily. So I think what we should do here is just start from here. And we figure out what you want on the screen, when. If you hear any part that you don't like, I can pretty quickly just trim it out. So, I don't know. I'm going to play it. You just tell me when to stop and what you want to do. How about that?
Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. He did a lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot. I've done this. I scripted this in a whole afternoon. A lot of time, I know. But the Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends. And then Henson...
Okay. I think that's
Quite a lot of time, and you might be typing.
I'm not sure how much of a delay you're on, but for mine it was like 10 seconds. Yeah, see, there you go. Maybe a picture of Jim Henson at the start of it, like when I'm saying when he was born. Yeah, well, my first thought was when you were saying...
The date he was born, we just do a cut to a calendar thing like I did before. And then once you're talking more about like him doing things, we just have a picture of him with like Kermit puppet. You know, something simple, but gets the point across. Also, just a picture of him is kind of nice because you're talking about him. But up to you.
Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
24th, 36.
All right, let's go to our handy dandy Google Images.
Search. What did I say?
Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
September 24th. What the fuck just happened? What's going on? What the fuck just happened? Was it not typing the whole... Yeah, it wasn't typing the whole fucking time. 1936. Hey, look at that. Jim Henson. Okay, let's try calendar. Unless you don't want to do the calendar, do you?
Maybe a picture of Jim Henson at the start of it. Oh,
Yeah, I already read that. Okay. Maybe we'll take out the tiff. We'll get what I think this is kind of what I searched last time. And we found a nice image of the date being circled. I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah, right here. See? It circled it for us. I mean, we can circle it. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I think we can draw shapes and stuff on the screen, too. This is September 1936. Why does it look weird? Why is there such a space here? Shit, I don't like that. Alright, any of these
Catch your eye, or do you not want to do a calendar?
What do we just do? Oh, that might be good. Is that... No, it's not 24th. It's being circled. Goddamn. I was thinking about... Oh, wait. This one's better than this one. Because I was thinking about just like... Oh, the line's missing. I'm stupid. Oh, there's a line missing there, too. Alright, you're not talking, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started on this. And if you don't want it, at least I did something. Oh, what the fuck? There are no lines. Weird. Just a little tip for saving images. If you were to save it here versus how I did it, where I opened it in a new link and then new image, let me just show you the difference. So this is what I saved.
And that's the episode of Power Rangers. Where the fuck's they?
That is the, if you just saved it directly off of Google Images. That's probably why the Muppets picture was low quality. Also sent over Instagram, so yeah. But anyway, that's just a better way to save images in higher quality and shit. So, I'll do it one more time. Open link in new tab. You probably could save off it here, but I'm not sure if it would be the same. But I always do open image in new tab because sometimes it gets even bigger than that. And then save image as, and so on. Alright. So now we go back to this folder. We're going to delete this extra one.
Yeah, it was almost 7 times better quality according to here.
I'll move this right here. Minimize this. Drag this here.
Quick question that's mostly unrelated to the video.
Shoot! I gotta figure out... Oh shit, I forgot where I was when I said to insert this. So I'm gonna put it there. And then I'm just gonna drag this all the way that way.
Numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th.
I think it would be a cool little if it's not circled until you say it. I think that's just more visually engaging.
Of 1936.
Alright, that's probably where we'll stop the picture and cut to something else, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to move this down a layer so that way the circling
Will be up top and you'll be seen. Which title would you be more likely to click on? Okay, Agatha All Along, Marvel's Most Forgotten Show, or the most hated Marvel show of all time, not putting the name in the title. Dude, that's a tricky question that I have had issues with over the past few years of naming a video with the actual subject name in it versus not. Because on the one hand, if you don't put it in there, it can be more of a surprise or more of like a, I guess, clickbaity, because they want to see what you're talking about and then they might click on it and click off of it. I've never been about clickbait, so for the most part, I want to put the title in it. So my recommendation would be the Agatha All Along one. I respect people more when they don't waste my time. You know what I mean? But some people don't care, so it really just up to you. Unfortunately, clickbait works probably better. But I like to treat others the way I want to be treated. I don't want to be clickbaited. I don't want my time wasted, that kind of thing. So, up to you.
Alright. Now we need to do a circle once you
Say 24th.
Jim Henson was born September 20.
We'll do it right there. I think there's a shape. Yep, here's one. From cursor position, that's perfect. Do a nice little circle. Ooh. I want it to be transparent though. Huh. Can I do that?
Okay, yeah, no, these are shapes. I want to do
Lines and then curve it. And I'll just do like 2, I guess. Right? Is that gonna be that might come out terrible. Oh Jesus, what did I do? What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Oh, we're getting close. What the fuck? What is this? What is happening? Alright, let's undo this whole thing. So it seems like where I put a dot then starts a line for a point. So I don't want to do it the way I was doing it. Shit, man. Are you gonna let me like adjust them?
Thought this would be easier. What's up, Rooster?
Finn made a video, and I am giving him tips on how to edit and how to use the video editor that I recommended to him.
And I am having problems drawing a circle. Oh, I feel like we're so fucking close. How many points do you need for a circle? 2? Oops. For YouTube. Yeah, he already uploaded it, and then I took it, and then moved around a tiny bit.
Added a sub intro for him, and then just threw in a bunch of pictures.
During parts where, just to make it more clear what he's saying and stuff like that. And then I was cutting out his spaces, stuff like that. He didn't do any of like the audio editing or anything like that, so I went in and like if he said something incorrect accidentally, he just left it in because, you know, easier to upload that way. So then I just cut them out and stuff like that. So he uploaded it as like one big chunk basically, and then I am going in and trimming it down and such.
How the fuck do you make a circle? This is embarrassing, actually. I thought this would be tremendously easier. I swear I've done something like this before. Alright. I got a backup plan. We fake it. So we say fuck the curve line. And instead do the circle with a text bubble. Is that what this is? Tooltip? No, I don't want that. Subtitles? Weird. Free sheep? I wonder what this is. Jesus. It's more drawing. Oh, and yeah, it's covering the other. Okay, so this is definitely not what we want. Yeah, alright, so I'm just going to go back to doing
the circle, and then we'll add in the 24th. Man, I thought this would be easy. That's the only reason I was doing this.
Oh. Are you fucking kidding me? I could have just done this. Alright, well there you go. Learn from my mistake. Don't do what I did. Just do the second thing that I did. Can I make this circle bigger though? There's gotta be a resizing of some sort. Fuck. What did I just click? Okay. Width and height. Okay. Is it gonna did it in real time? Grid. What the fuck does that mean? Wait, snap? The fuck does that mean? This is the transparency. I know that word. Maybe it's not going to do anything until I click on it. Nope, that didn't do anything at all. Okay, undo. Oh, no, don't undo the whole thing. Alright, whatever, it's fine. I can just do it again.
Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
It's not bad. Okay, drag that back, put that there, layers.
Okay, so Finn,
Question for you. How much of this do you want to leave in? Because you do a little bit of ad-libbing.
and then what should we cover it with an image? If you want to cover it with an image.
He did a lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot. I've done this. I scripted this in a whole afternoon. A lot of time, I know. But the Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends.
Because, as you said, I feel like there's pros and cons to the ad-libs with the professionalism versus personalism. And I'm not sure where you want to meet the balance on this specific segment. Can you cut out pretty much the whole thing up until I say where they start?
Yeah, okay, so let's figure this out.
A lot of stuff, but I haven't researched a lot. I've done this. I scripted this in a whole afternoon. A lot of time, I know.
Probably right to here is what we're going to want to do. So what I'm going to do is click on solely this one, right-click it, cutting it and splitting, add a marker.
But the Muppets...
No, we want to cut out that butt too. We don't want that.
But...
Probably right here, so we have a little bit of a pause between sentences.
The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends. And then Henson started...
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let's see how this looks. So, oh, why didn't it divide it?
Born September 24th of 1936. He did a lot of stuff, but...
Oh, it did divide it there. I didn't start it. Okay, hold on. All we gotta do is this. And then click on here. Then do cutting and splitting. Then do add a marker. Then do that. Okay, so now everything we don't want should be this little... and I clicked on accidentally. Should be that little clip. So this is another way you could delete something, or if you wanted to just move this. Because you can go ahead and throw this to the end of the video and you could do like a blooper reel or something like that. Alright, now again, I like to just go back and rewatch and see what it looks like.
Easily internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends. And then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 1969.
Yeah, okay, that seems way better.
And then Henson started... And then Henson's called Sam and Friends.
Sam and Friends. Alright, let's try and find a good picture of that. This is basically what I was doing last time.
We're just like, okay, he said something.
Let's find a picture of it. Ooh, this could be good. Adds to the effect of how old it is. Yeah, there's something color, but I also don't want to get something that's like inaccurate because I don't know the topic much. You know, maybe this picture's not good because it represents a certain part of the show or blah 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 blah. So I don't know. Maybe you help me pick. What the hell is this censored? What the fuck could that be? I don't want to find out. I'm leaning towards this one or this one, depending on if you want black or white. Or if you see a different one that you want, just let me know. We've been doing this for an hour and a half so far. Yeah, you can really lose time video editing. We're probably going to stop either for the day or at least a break soon. I want to go cash in my volts for high voltage. I guess I gotta finish rival stuff. Wow, okay, well I was saying a lot of stuff. But, basically, do you want this picture or this picture? Those are my recommendations. This has a watermark, so that might actually suck. But then this one's in black and white, so I don't know which one you want. Or if there's a different one on here. What picture do you want to use when you're talking about Sam and Friends real quick? Any pictures with him in them? Is that him? Can you click the black and white one? It's covered by chat. Oh, yeah, sorry, man. It's a very, very similar photo, but in black and white. There's some slight differences to the layout and stuff. And I don't think they're on that, like, those symbols or whatever the fuck. You like that one? Alright. So, what we do, open image in your tab. Save images. Just save it. I don't care what its name. Doesn't matter. I know where it is. Alright. We're going to go click on downloads. We're going to click on... Okay. We want to minimize this. And we want to drag this in here. Okay, we're going to need the black background on this one. Oh, well, we could just extend it from previous spot.
36. The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends. Sam and
Okay, so here's my thought. You said the Muppets and started out. I thought it would be kind of interesting if we showed the comparison between the two. So we just have a picture of the Muppets first, and then it cuts to, as soon as you start talking about it, Sam and Friends, this. And I think it'll look really good, too, with the black and white versus the color. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We'll just find a nice, simple The Muppets photo. One that perfectly has, like, the most amount of characters. Like, this is a pretty good one. Oh, you probably can't see it. It's a little blurry. Why is this image so small? Yeah, that's how I got it. Here, let me see if there's something else. This one could work. Oh yeah, this is probably better. It also says, oh, this is for literally the movie, I think. A junior novel. We can cut that out. Let me do... Yeah, we could just cut the top and the bottom. Or we can leave in the Disney if you wanted. Because that's kind of like where they are now. But I didn't want to do like this because it's got those two actors and they're not a part of the show regularly. Keep the junior novel part. Alright, but I mean, also if we cut it out, it'll resize it better for the format of, you know, we're doing horizontal versus vertical. It is a clearer picture than this one, though. I feel like this picture would be better if it was clear. But whatever, let's do this. Alright, so we're going to do save image. Okay, let's close these. Don't need them anymore. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the downloads folder. And then open the fin folder. I have a lot of shit open. I'm always in the middle of something, you know what I mean? Sometimes multiple things. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. Let's go back to this. We're going to zoom out so we can resize it. I'm narrating because I'm also trying to teach. We're going to zoom back in. We're going to move the marker to the beginning of where it is and move the picture to where we want it to be. Yeah, we unfortunately have to have 4 layers over here. So this is now going to be at the very least a 4-layer video. It's not a big deal, but it gets a little annoying sometimes. All right, so here's my thoughts. Let's rewind it. Let's save it. Let's play it and see what it looks like.
Internet-friendly numbered list.
Oh, I already fucked up. I know I did because I wanted to do the big black background for this whole thing. And then I don't know where we're going to cut off Sam and Friends and have it be something else. We still haven't had a picture of Jim Henson.
I want to remind you of that.
Because
Internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson...
we could do it right here before you say was born on. We can have just a nice, simple picture of him.
And I think...
I'll probably find something real quick. Alright, take your pick. We got ones with the Muppets. We got ones without. We've got ones with just Kermit. We've got one that's not him. We got him with a Leonardo. What the fuck? That's cool. Yo, we're not using this, but I want this image. Yeah, that's literally what I wanted to call it. Perfect. All right, I'll leave that. No!
You know what? All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
So we're probably gonna...
Jim Henson was born...
when you start saying September is when I want it to cut to the calendar. I think that's probably best. Right around there.
Born September 20...
That's fine. That's fine. All right, so now what we want to do is go to cursor to end. So that way when we throw in the picture, it'll already be where we want it to be at the start, and then we'll just have to resize it. All right, so we got to open fin folder, and we got to open the
Download folder. That was already open. I'm going to copy paste this one because I want this picture too.
That is such a cool photo.
No, I love that we're using it. That's actually great.
All right, we'll put that in there like that. We're gonna, unfortunately... See, this is where I like to throw in multiple images at once if I know what I'm doing. That's what I did for, like, the big bulk area over here. I put in, like, 5 or 6 images at once, and I resized them all at once. It just saves you some time. But if you don't quite know what you want yet, sometimes you gotta do it the way we're doing it. This is just coming together, you know what I mean? So it's like... don't want to rush it. It's fine. Though I do need to do something in Marvel Snap before 3 o'clock. Alright. Alright. Let's try this again. So we're going to save it. And do we... nah, it's fine. I'll just leave the big black background. Doesn't make a difference.
numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936.
I'm sorry.
I fucking forgot that Leonardo was going to be on the screen too. Let's try it again.
Numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends, and then Henson started working with Sesame Street in
Okay, so that's where we would cut the Sesame Street. Let's go find a picture of Sesame Street, preferably with Jim Henson and or Kermit and something like that. That's probably pretty good.
working with Sesame Street.
No, it's not bad. Hold on. Probably like there. Try that.
And then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 19...
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, let's go find a good image of... Here, you know what? Let's be smart. We're going to listen ahead and see what other images we can find. So we definitely want Sesame Street and Jim Henson.
I'll go ahead and search that, and then we can see
what else we should be getting after that. Oh, whoops. So we'll find something there we like, but...
1969. He started incorporating his Muppets characters, namely Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Fozzie, a lot of the well-known character, and they quickly jumped to popularity above.
So we could obviously have images of all of those characters, or we could find a picture with Jim Henson with all those characters already, and then we could just kind of like circle them as you say them. I feel like that would be kind of easier.
Almost everybody else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976.
Okay, so we're going to need a picture of the Muppet Show, unless you want to cut back to Junior Novel over there. Second one sounds good.
And it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock.
See if we can get a picture of Fraggle Rock.
All right, so let's go ahead and do Google Images. What did I say? We wanted a picture of the Muppet Show, but the older one. We want a... Here, let's do duplicate. This is easier. Fraggle Rock. That's fragile. How do you spell Fraggle? Oh, there we go. Two letters. Fraggle Rock. Okay, what else do you say?
One of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth.
Okay.
And Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel slash prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018.
Muppet Baby? Is that what you said? Whoops. You said it got rebooted. Yeah, that does look like something. Okay, I've never seen this before. This is probably the 2018, so that's not bad. If we have that with the reboot, we'll just slap that picture
Picture over it since we're still on the topic of the other one.
Interesting. So you're... Here, let's do duplicate, and then slide this bitch over here, and we're going to take off the 2018, see if we can find a picture of, like, the not 2018 version. Okay.
They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island.
See, these are all things that you're saying. We can pop them up.
A bunch of games, albums.
Games. I don't remember any Muppet games.
Clue. Is this what you mean? Like board games? Video games? You'll have to help me with this part.
We'll come back to it.
Reference
Albums, like CDs and stuff?
is throughout all of media. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into...
Okay, you say references in all sorts of media.
You'll have to help me with what you want specifically there. So what I'm just going to do, because we're on like a delay here, and I'm
trying to get things done quickly, is I'm just going to search references, and then we'll come back to it. So we'll just look at each one of these tabs together and see what pictures you want to put on there, all right? But I do want to point out that you do mention Family Guy specifically later on, so if we have any Family Guy pictures, we can save it for then, so we can do other references at this point. All right, anyway.
You know, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
Yeah, right there you specifically say that. If you want, we can cut to a quick little clip of a reference to Family Guy.
And then, the Muppet Revival of 2011.
I have one I want to recommend. It's fucking horrible. We can just cut to this clip. Hold on, I don't know if you've seen the whole thing. Yeah, it's this right here.
We now return to Muppet Babies.
Piggy, I don't think Kermit Jr. is doing so well.
Kill me! I'm in constant pain!
Or anything of the sort. I'm not sure too many, like, in good spirit Family Guy references they do, because the other one, it talks about him dying. I'm trying to think. I know that one. This one's all right. This one's fucking fantastic. This one's on the same topic of him dying. This one might be good. I don't know. Up to you. Whatever ones, or ones you don't want. All right. Let's keep going with the video.
Then after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release. Then they had a
Right. The 2011 film release was actually with those characters. So if we want to then... Hold on. This one. We can use this one here. And I'll just drag this all the way to the end. And then I'll re-go to the Jim Henson search.
sequel. And then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies.
Sitcom. Yeah, I do remember that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, see, you say so much. That's where it's like, yeah, we can throw in images every time you reference something, but it's going to be work. Yeah, I remember that.
And just more and more. But nowadays, mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays, they're kind of in that area where, like, they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye. And in 1989, they became...
Oh, okay, you weren't here when I was talking about this earlier. I don't know. To me, I think it's kind of strange that you give a good history from, like, beginning to current day, and then you backtrack all the way to, like, when Disney was interested in them. Because they were definitely part of that movie and the sitcom and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want to maybe cut this and insert it into the middle there, but I understand the reason that you're referencing it here is because you're leading into talking about the ride, I think. So it just depends on how we want to have this play out. We don't have to put an image every time, like especially for the Gauge stuff, like mini movies, and when I say references, just a Family Guy thing. Yeah, we'll see. Because it will get annoying to add in an image for every single one, but it might look better in the long run. It might be worth it to do it. So, I was going to ask about moving the Disney merger thing and putting it... fucking fantastic. See, we have the same idea.
began to enter a merger deal.
Yeah, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to find where you start talking about it. I'm going to make it its own separate clip, and then we'll figure out later.
Nowadays, they're kind of in that area where, like, they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
I think it's right around here. So I'm going to make sure I'm only clicked on this. I'm going to go to cutting and splitting. And so I am where this marker is. If I start watching, if I move around, but then leave it, I'm still where the marker is. So this is a good trick for trying to find the exact spot without actually dropping a marker, because sometimes if you forget the marker, then you'll make a division, you may not want the division, so on like that.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s...
No, that's exactly where we want it anyway. So I'm just going to go backwards. I'm going to go back to cutting and splitting. I'm going to add a marker. I'm going to have it... Okay, so this is where I was talking about. Split the file using the set of markers. If you don't want to do that, you could uncheck that and then do it. But we do want to do that. So now there's a division, and now there's separate clips. So then we can move shit around much easier. Because, yeah, the Disney thing you said is in the 80s or 90s. So that's going to be somewhere over here instead. But I wasn't sure what part 2 starts out with yet. Because I started watching this, and then you showed up. So then we
The
went
success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D.
That's where the problem is. If you're having that lead into you talking about it, and then you're not talking about it, it's going to get a little weird, but it's up to you. Because you have, like, all of the tone of enthusiasm as you're about to start talking about it. But then if we move it, then you're not going to start talking about it. So it's up to you.
And most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision.
So you have,
Like a good transition there. But it's also awkward because you go back in time. It's up to you.
Filming began in January of...
holy shit, we're only at the 3-minute mark. No, we're not even there. We're back here at the... We're still at like 2 minutes worth of editing. Jesus. How the fuck is this video so long? You say so much. Here, I'm just gonna move all these together. Is part 5... Yeah, okay. This, we could probably cut some of it down. I'm not sure. I haven't gone through any of these parts to cut out your ums, or spaces.
Jeez. All right, what are we going to do here?
Also, how much time do we have? All right, we are taking a break, stopping the stream in, at most, a half hour.
Because I have to do some Marvel Snap stuff. If you want to hang out with me when we do that, we can. But I don't want to run out of time. Alright.
So if we were to move it, where would it fit in chronologically?
Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Fozzie, a lot of the well-known character, and they quickly jumped to popularity above almost everybody else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976, and it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island.
I feel like The Muppets Baby is probably just a prequel and not so much a sequel, but I don't know. I think what we should do is confirm and edit your dialogue to make it more professional with it.
Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout all.
If we don't want to be specific with the games part, we could literally cut to a Google Images search of it. Why is there 2 for references? Why is there 2 for references? They're literally the same thing. Like, we could literally just cut to this image. I feel like that might be easier.
Because I was thinking about just doing like this picture plus this picture plus this picture plus this picture, like all at once. But you know what's a lot easier than that? All of this at once. I think it is a prequel. Okay, we should confirm. For the Family Guy thing, flash the Kermit Jr. image for like half a second. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's fucking... Where's the image of it? We could cut to this. It's got the dialogue on it.
I think that's on my Instagram.
If you scroll down far enough, pretty sure. All right. Anyway, we got to figure out where timeline is.
Of media. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. And then the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney.
Okay, so that's right there where you're talking about Disney.
So it's not even that much. I say we cut it, or like we chop it, we separate them, we move it, we watch it that way, and we see if it makes sense. If it doesn't, we can go back to the way it is. Yeah. Let's see how that sounds. It's right around here somewhere.
Started doing the Muppet. They had been acquired by Disney. They started, and then the Muppet revival of 2011. After they had been acquired by Disney, and then reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
Probably right here anyway. It might not make a whole hell of a lot of sense, just because of the way you word things, because you weren't expecting it to be like this, but let's see how it looks.
And like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they
Earned Disney's eye. I feel like you mean caught would kind of fit better. And if you want to reread any lines, we can do that fairly easily. We just want to go with like a continuity in audio quality. So I might just have you awkwardly record certain lines on the same phone, upload it the same way, and then I'll download it the same way, and I'll insert it this way, as opposed to sending over Instagram, something like that, because it might just sound different. It might be better, it might be worse, and then it will just take you out of it. Like, if you really listen to this beginning part,
the beloved area Muppet Courtyard.
it's awkward because I chopped it together. If you want to reread that, we can do that. But, just imagine you're talking and then it gets better. You know what I mean? It's going to sound odd. So we could leave it, or you could reread certain lines. Now, where were we trying to watch from?
Faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant.
Also, technically, it should be in Italian, as in A-N.
I was literally going to try and find you saying it somewhere else in the video and insert it, but I also didn't know how much you care about like grammar and shit like that. Just like send me a list of lines later that I should re-record. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll try and do that, or I'll like at least make the list and send it to you before 2 p.m.
Okay.
And most importantly,
Yeah, let's back it up just a tiny bit.
completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then, the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem kind of odd.
You might want to restructure this, maybe re-record, maybe just cut out certain words to make it flow better. But it does feel not as natural because we moved the order around. But then also the other way, it felt kind of odd because you were going not chronologically. So I don't know what you want to do here. It's really ultimately up to you. Whatever you want to do,
I can try and make it work the best way that I can.
Themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D.
Because once we have the audio completed, we're happy with the way you phrase things, all the flow, everything, and cutting out all the extra space and stuff, then we can throw in the pictures much easier. Because otherwise, if we do the pictures now, and then we go back and we redo the audio, well, then we're going to have to resize all the pictures to fit where you're talking and stuff like that. So, re-recording could be better. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So,
whatever you want to do here.
we might have to do this multiple times, because I don't think in this half hour we'll be able to figure out all of the lines for this entire video that you want to re-record. So I think we should chunk it.
Is there anything from the beginning? Here, we're just going to do a full rewatch of the entire beginning.
If there's anything at any moment that stands out to you as odd sounding, just tell me to pause. We'll pause, and we'll make a note of it. Okay? And then we'll just do that until I feel like we're pretty good in the video. Because I feel like a lot of the images that we Google searched, we can throw in there without an issue. Oh, no, not entirely, because the merger is where we started talking about other things. Well, definitely for the first few parts. But let's just start from here. We're on a delay here. So as soon as you hear something, just type the word pause real quick. I'll pause the video, and then we'll make note of whatever you don't like. Sound good? Okay, 9-second delay between me saying that and then you typing and sending it. So just keep that in mind when you hear something, because I might not, you might miss something else too because of that 9 seconds. All right, let's go.
The beloved area Muppet Courtyard. Hi everyone, my name is Finn, and I like talking about whatever comes to my stupid little mind. At D23 2024, an event where the Walt Disney Company announces their upcoming movies, TV shows, and especially things inside their theme parks, they announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard.
All right, what do you got for me? Maybe the part where I say concept art, just reword that so I'm not repeating my words. Okay.
I didn't catch that. Let me see. Oops. What did I fucking do?
And especially things inside their theme parks, they announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard.
I didn't catch it. Where did you say concept art a second time?
2024, an event where the Walt Disney Company announces their upcoming movies, TV shows, and especially things inside their theme parks. They announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built.
All right, let me listen for that.
Announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard.
No, I think it's fine because you're using it one as a noun and one as a verb. You're not using it twice in the same kind of structure. So I think it's fine. Because at one point you're talking about they're going to build this, and then you say, but we're not sure where it's going to be built. I think that's fine. It's up to you, though. It's your video.
Be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but
I know what you mean, though, but I think it's fine. I think we should just leave it. If we're going to work on things, we should probably put our effort more into something else. I think this is fine.
The main one was Animation Courtyard. If you don't know, that's the little area that has like the Disney Junior show, a Star Wars store, you can get the same merch inside of the...
Now, if you notice here, there's a little bit of a gap. It's because I felt like your flow was too quick. You went from one sentence to the other, so I just did a little break and then paused just to give it some breathing room. But if you don't like that, I could pretty quickly just, move that.
If you don't know, that's the little area that has like the Disney Junior show, a Star Wars store, You can get the same merch inside of the Star Wars land at the same park, and then the Little Mermaid show. And going into November of 2024, that's what everybody believed it would be taking over. And then they announced that it would be taking over the fan favorite area, Muppet Courtyard. Muppet Courtyard was the area where they had Muppet Vision, and they said starting June 8th, it would be closing permanently. This came as a shock to many because it was, as I said, beloved. But it's done. As of recording this, it's closed around 2 days ago. And I've decided, since I love this attraction so much, I would go back and just do a brief history of it. To do this, I've divided it into an easily internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends, and then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 1969. He started incorporating his Muppets characters, namely Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, and Fozzie, a lot of the well-known character, and they quickly jumped to popularity above almost everybody else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976, and it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018.
I don't think we need to re-record this part, but I do think we should figure out what it is exactly and have that in the video. Just either it's a prequel or a sequel, or if it's both, leave that in as being both. But you being unsure, it just comes off as the unprofessional, because it's something we could just research. So we should just research it and do that. So don't need to re-record it, but I think we could just leave that as is. Depending on the answer, we might need to re-record it, or it might just sound better to re-record it, but it's probably fine. I could probably chop it just perfectly,
It grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games.
Hold on, Melissa's texting me. I guess she's not watching the stream. She goes, "Where are you?" Bitch, we are working. I feel like we're getting a lot done, but we're also not very far into the video. You know what I mean? Let me see if he's streaming. Yeah. I guess she's not watching. Perfect time. I've had a small amount of viewers, more than just Finn and I, this whole stream. So I just assumed you had it on and were just listening or something. But yeah, we're editing the video even more than we did the other day. So I told you I was doing this. It says 6. Yeah. Well, that's more than 2. So I just assumed that was, you were one of the, at the time it was 5. Watching Psych?
All right, so we are, and you can butt in here too, Alyssa. We are listening to see if Finn should re-record any dialogue. And we're going to make note of all the things he could re-record, and he'll do that
Until the next time we edit the video.
Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018.
We already said that we are going to figure out what it is, and we're going to edit that part. He probably doesn't need to re-record it.
They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout all of media. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
This might be redundant.
From there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout all of media. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
Unless you mean it in two different ways. Because you go from talking about references to them going to be in references. That's fine if you mean it in the sense of while they were popular, they were in references and stuff, but now they're kind of, or not now, but at the time now, they then became just references. If that's what you mean, that's fine. We just got to find the right kind of images to convey that.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye. And it,
Okay, we should probably re-record that part because you meant to say like catch, but I think you just ad-libbed it and then just went with it. But you know, we have the time here. We can edit and perfect it, if you will.
the success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye. And it,
They didn't really get referenced much at their peak, but between like the 90s and 2010s, they got referenced a lot. So maybe just the Family Guy part. Okay, yeah. See, I don't really know the history, so it's kind of hard for me to edit in the way that I think makes sense. But if you know the history, that's good. We can fix it and make it good. So yeah,
We'll probably... Here. Let's take a look at this real quick.
else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976, and it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout.
Okay, so I think this is probably where we want to stop it then. Maybe include something besides references then if we are going to re-record.
wait, what happened? Nah, Zach's never seen The Labyrinth. It's on my list to show him. Is it really on the list? I definitely have not seen it, but I don't remember seeing it on the list. Alyssa and I used to do this thing where every Friday we would alternate showing each other a movie, and we kind of fell pretty far behind, but we're trying to catch up now, and I didn't remember seeing that on the list, especially with David Bowie. All right, don't tell me anything. I'm gonna fucking watch it.
I don't want to know nothing about anything when I go into a movie.
All right. So anyway, my point is,
You talk about they get really popular and they do a lot, but then one of the things you list we're going to take off. So we might want to re-record and just throw something else in there, but I don't really know what. So that's where you got to help me out here.
A bunch of games, popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island.
Oh, you do list three things. Okay, you list movies, then album, or games, then albums. Okay, hold on. It might be fine.
It's like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout.
Okay, but we might still want to add in the word "and" or something, because otherwise it's just going to end abruptly. I'm not sure. Up to you.
2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums, references throughout all of media. Then after the 90s,
Wow. Sometimes I'm so fucking good at accidentally clicking the right spot. Is this what we want to get rid of here?
references throughout all of media. Then after the 90s.
Okay, so this is my idea here. If we just cut out that part and then just listen to it.
18. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
I think it's fine. I think we don't actually need you to throw the word in there, but it's up to you. Here, I'm going to let it play again, but this time flow into the next thing because there was a space accidentally.
In popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney.
You actually kind of have a good pause here for a clip if there is something, because you said there was like a 3-minute video of Family Guy references. We could insert some of it here. It actually, you have a nice end transition, begin transition kind of flow to your talking that I think something could go in here just fine. So I'm actually going to just leave this little gap right there to remind us.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney I, and in 1989...
All right, we should definitely re-record that part. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a list of things that you should re-record. Shit, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to text you. Zach, are you going to want to watch Lilo and Stitch tomorrow? Lily's trying to plan an art day. Yeah. Tomorrow's Stitch Day. What the fuck? Why is that even a question? Yes, of course. That sounds good. Let's do that. Yeah, I completely forgot that Fortnite used to have clicking on game modes like that. Anyway, Finn. Okay, so. Let's see how much of it you need to re-record.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney I.
I mean, you probably could just do that sentence alone. Okay, let me see if I typed that correctly.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney I.
Okay. And I'm just going to add in a little marker so we can separate these two. So that way we can just swap them out. And I'm going to lower this one so that way it's more obvious to me that, hey, that kind of doesn't really belong. But we'll keep it because we need the placement of it. And I'll explain to you how I want you to re-record these to make it easier for editing. At some point, remind me.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney I, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie.
I think that's slightly redundant. They announced before it was completed. I feel like you could just, without the before it was completed, like they announced. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense because of before the merger actually happened. I don't know. It just seems a tiny bit redundant. You tell me.
In 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D.
Because in my mind, I feel like we can just have... Oh shit, I don't have to chat anymore. If you guys are talking, I don't see it. Yeah, see, I missed Alyssa saying that, and then you saying that, and then you saying...
What do you think? Do you agree with me? Because I could just say anything I want here. You don't have to agree. If you feel differently, you let me know. This is your video. I just felt like we could take out the part where you're saying before the merger was finished or whatever you said. Because it just seemed kind of redundant when you were talking about the merger going to happen and so on.
Kind of want to do the Italian-themed restaurant because to me it sounds like the restaurant is themed after Italy.
I didn't catch that. Let me hear that. Here, we're just going to back it up to here.
The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney I, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant.
What themed Italian restaurant? Oh, you mean like a Muppets themed versus... Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. All right, so here's how you should say it then. Okay, I got you. Also, I don't think you need to re-record the line. I was just saying we can cut that out. That part seems redundant, but I wanted to make sure with you.
Completed. That during this, before the merger with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed.
Because we could just cut from announced right to like when you start talking about what they announced. I think we could just cut that whole part.
There would be that...
Let me see what it sounds like, though.
Because if it sounds too choppy and you know what I mean? Because like you're talking in different tones at different parts of your sentences. If it sounds too weird, we can re-record it, or we can just leave it entirely. It's up to you, but let's see.
In 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly,
What do you
Muppet
think?
Vision
What do you
3D.
think? Did that? I felt like that flowed better. But I just want to make sure it made sense to the context because I'm not as up to the context as you are. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So then, how should you reword the Italian restaurant thing?
There would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant.
Okay. Good. I wanted to
Cut that anyway because of the grammar.
So you're saying it should be an Italian, a Muppets, a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant? Sure. I mean, you tell me if that's what it was exactly. I don't really remember all the context and such, but a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant. Okay, I actually had a question about that. That's not the same restaurant that replaced Pizza Planet, is it? And then, if it is, why did they take so long to make it?
Because Pizza Planet was there during the same time.
Time as the Muppets. No, I
I don't
don't.
believe so. Okay, then I'm curious what restaurant you're talking about. I think I already looked it up. I don't really remember.
Seeing it.
Muppet restaurant? I don't fucking know. Oh, get out of here. Because I remember they replaced.
Pizza Planet was something else. The one that opened in like 2016 was like a different version of the one planned from the start.
Interesting. Yeah, Hollywood Studios. That sounds good. Give me that. So this was Pizza Planet right here. I know that for a fact. And I looked it up before, and it wasn't any of these pictures, but there was like it was this picture I found. And I wasn't even sure what the fuck I was looking at. Where is this? What is this? Is this what you were talking about? This was the initial place? Oh, that's the fucking snowman. That's the snowman right there. That's the snowman right there.
We've got a picture of that snowman, us as kids.
I think father said they got rid of it. But yeah, we always walked past this.
If that's what that is,
And we just didn't care about it. Because we would walk this way, because this is the Muppets area over here, and then you walk this way and you go that way. Right? Or the Muppets area this way? One or the other.
either way.
That's the fucking snowman right there. Also, if you have more pictures from like you personally that you took, I think that would be great to
Put in the video. I don't remember a snowman nor a Pizza Planet restaurant. You don't remember Pizza Planet?
Hold the fucking phone. It wasn't very accurate to the movie, but it was still pretty cool. Alright, I need to actually look up. No, it's fucking MGM. That's what it's called. Yeah, Pizza Planet. This is what it looked like. And you'd go in, the pizza was pretty bad. Oh my god, look at the line. Wow, this is some nostalgia right here. And then they just changed it from, oh wait, that's a bad picture. I think I was thinking of this picture, but it would be like a direct one-to-one. This is the line from upstairs. There was an upstairs where you'd play the games, and then downstairs you would, downstairs you'd play the games, upstairs you'd eat the food.
It was like an arcade restaurant pizzeria thing. Oh look, Lily's here. Hi Lily. Yeah, I definitely have some personal pictures. Good. Yeah. Any more that you had, because you had it in, and we have them in there, and I'm just gonna kind of have them on screen better, because you're showing them. I figure if they take up the whole screen, it'd probably be better anyway. So maybe if I don't know if you have like a printer or a photo scanner of some sorts to get better qualities, we can do that. If not, it's okay. I could just kind of screen grab what we have. Only Pizza Planet I know is the one in California. It looked really similar to that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it bothered me that it wasn't really like the movie, because in the movie, It's a very different looking place. It's very dark. It's one floor. Yeah, this is inside here. This is inside here. But then what we got is still cool and nostalgic, but like, you know,
It's pretty different. Pizza tasted like Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, probably about that. Probably on some days better, some days worse.
and Lily, look, it's the snowman. Father was talking about it. I'm pretty sure he said that they got rid of that.
Which,
It's not that surprising since they're changing this whole area.
anyway, it is now 2 p.m.
We should really wrap this up and switch over to Marvel Snap very soon. So let's like finish out our thoughts here on part 1 and such like that. All right, so you're talking about the original restaurant, not this one. You're talking about this one, I'm assuming.
No snap, I just got here. Well, I mean, it's not going to take that long. We can come right back to this. I just thought it'd be fun to, like, open my premium mystery variants together, as opposed to me just do it by myself. Because we haven't done Snap stuff in so long on this channel, and I feel like, well, I know that Snap is what gave me my almost 200 followers, so we got the...
Anyway, so you're talking about this restaurant.
As long as the sentence
Fits that, a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant. Is that what this was? Or no. I think this is. I think this is the Gonzo one, unless they just didn't really have him much in this other one.
You tell me, I don't know the context.
But if we're gonna re-record, we should say the right thing this time.
Gonzo theme thing was only ever concept art. Then the Pizza Rizzo place that opened was very loosely based on it.
Okay. So let me re-listen to what you're saying then, and see if it makes sense. Because you said that they're announcing it, right? So it doesn't have to be accurate. Like, that's not what actually happened. It's just that they announced that it was going to happen, so that's fine.
Announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride.
Also, what is that? A Muppets Great Movie Ride? Is that like a part in the Great Movie Ride, or were they going to have their own ride? Or did you say the wrong thing? I'm confused. Muppets. Or is it just something that never happened? Oh, I think it's something that just never happened. Got scrapped. Bastages. Interesting. Yeah, no, I had never heard of this. Well, shit, we gotta show some of this. Yeah, we should show all the things that you list. Alright, let me just take this page and just put it onto the other one. Okay. All right, so let's finish up on what you should say.
And kind of going to do a whole new part talking about all the scrap stuff because there's a good amount.
There's more shit?
Up to you. Because the video is
almost 30 minutes, and we've only edited, what, like 3 fucking minutes of it so far? Not even? We're not even at the 3-minute mark yet? Because we haven't put these images to it yet? We are still at the almost 2-minute mark. It's up to you.
Cross that bridge later.
I'm trying to think if it would make more sense to just do it in this video or to make it as a separate video, depending on how much of a deep dive you want to go into it. You know?
Let's finish up on figuring out the dialogue. We can take a break, do Marvel Snap stuff. I'll probably eat lunch. I need to eat. Oh my god, it's too hard. I haven't eaten anything. And then potentially come back. Because I feel like we have so much to do, but also I have other projects I want to work on too. And I feel like I can upload them faster. And then if they're up, you know, as opposed to this, we're taking our time with, and making it into exactly what you want it to be, and that's going to take a little bit longer than something I can get done in a couple hours. I think it could take a couple hours. I don't know. I didn't think, I didn't think this video would take this long, to be honest. It initially started with, we could cut out the spaces as the ums, and then it turned into, oh, it'd be cool if there was a picture here, and then it just became, this. Do it separately. Yeah, if there's a lot to it, then you probably should just have it as a separate video. If there's not too much you want to talk about, then we could just insert it probably right around where we are currently. Up to you. So anyway, a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant fits because it was concept. And then what we ended up getting... Should you clarify that? Because, I got confused. And I'm sitting here talking to you and you explained it to me. But if someone just watches the video, then they might not understand that the Gonzo-themed restaurant that replaced Pizza Planet was not the initial restaurant. I'm going to back it up to here, save it. Yeah, okay, so my question to you is, do you have, do you want to clarify with that sentence, a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant, but not the one that replaced Pizza Planet, or the one that replaced Pizza Planet, I don't know how you want to word it, but you should tell me how you want to word it, because I'm sending you all this stuff to re-record. I mean, I could just leave it as a Gonzo-themed Italian restaurant, and I'll put in parentheses and clarify, not, or I don't really know what you want to say here. Clarify, eventually became Pizza Planet, or there was one, they made one, and then they eventually did make another one? I don't know. Clarify the two separate restaurants. How about that? I'll just put that for now. We can figure that out later. Okay, that's fine. All right. Let's listen to this and see if there's anything else we should do before part one's over. Then I'll explain to you how I want you to record it, and then we'll switch over to Marvel Snap real quick. And then I'll probably go do my other stuff real quick. And I think tomorrow I'll work on a different video, and or this evening. And then maybe Friday, if you want to pick this back up, we can keep doing what we're doing here.
And in 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then, the Muppet Revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini-movies, and just more and more. But nowadays, they're kind of in that area where, they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
Okay. I think this is a mixed bag, this whole clip right here. I think it starts out a little clustered, disjointed, not professional. It gets good professional in the middle, and then it loses itself again at the end. I'm not sure how you want to work on this. If you want to just leave it as is, or if you want to cut out certain words, or re-record, or what. So I'm just going to play it again. You tell me.
And then, the Muppet Revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel.
There's a bunch of butts, and then I don't know, it doesn't flow right to me. And then it definitely has some odd tone changes because you had the spaces that I cut out. Sometimes it's fine, other times you can notice it. But maybe I'm just noticing it because I'm looking at it, and when there's an image, it won't be as noticeable. You know what I mean? Because at the beginning, it's definitely different, but I think it flows fine because there's an image. I don't know.
And then the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays, they're kind of in that area where, like,
So you have a butt there and you have a butt there. And it kind of seems like it's one sentence.
It doesn't flow right to me. The middle's good, but the beginning and the end feel odd. What is your opinion on it? This fucking chair sucks. I agree. Okay, good. Good.
And I don't ever want to insult you at all with any of this. This is just what I'm noticing about it.
And also, I've been chopping at the bits, so it's... Of course it's going to sound a little weird. So, how should we fix this?
What about it exactly is wrong to you?
and then the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short...
I actually kind of feel like if we just take out the word butt and there's images, this might be fine.
Most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then the Muppet revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, 3D. And then the Muppet revival of 2011.
Okay, so if we take out the word butt, I think it's going to significantly help. Also, I feel like this beginning off of this part, because remember we move shit around, doesn't flow perfectly. And I'm not sure how we should go about that.
And most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then...
I don't feel like "and then" is the right wording.
I think that might be my issue here. Maybe it's like... Flow feels like it changes a lot. Yeah, I'm getting that too. I think if we just change the wording here, it'll be a pretty easy fix. I'm thinking instead of "and then," you say like "because of," or something, or "this leads into," because you then talk about the Muppet revival and such. Okay, hold on. What'd you say? I can redo the whole part after I talk about the merger. That's just my biggest outlier.
I don't know if you have to redo the whole thing. Maybe just like some sentences here and there.
But
I don't know. Hold on, let me think about this for a second.
Muppet's Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant.
Hold on, let's go back even further, so that way we get the full picture.
Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney eye.
Remember, we're going to change that.
And in 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced...
Is there a slight pause there that we can take out? Because I feel like there's a slight pause there that we can take out.
With Jim Henson Studios.
Yeah, this little tiny pause bothers me. Hold on. Let me see if this is fine if we just take this out. Because, like, you thought about it, but, that doesn't need to be in the video. Let me see.
In 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios.
That's fine. I feel like we might even be able to take out more, but that definitely, I like that a lot more.
With Jim Henson Studios.
okay.
That's going to change the spacing ever so slightly. Okay, only for one clip, that's fine. Okay, hold on. Let's go to here. Big picture, keep an eye on the clock.
And in 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced during this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be a Muppet's Great Movie Ride, a Italian...
Wait a minute, didn't I take out the... Before the merger had... I thought I took that out already.
During this, before the merger had been completed, that there would be...
I thought I already took that out. What the fuck happened? Did we undo accidentally?
During this, before the merger had been completed, during this, announced... During this, before the merger had been completed, that...
I thought I already took this out.
Studios. they announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian
Yeah, what the fuck? I swear I already took that out. Hold on, video.
theme. And in 1989, they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then the Muppet Revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney.
Okay, maybe just the redundancy is just talking about being acquired by Disney, because you were literally just talking about it. You weren't talking about anything else, so I feel like that doesn't need to be said. So if we take that out, we might not need to fix the and then. Or maybe it still has to be because of.
And then the Muppet Revival of 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney,
Okay, hold on. Let me show you what I mean, and you tell me if you like it better or worse.
after they had been acquired, after they had been acquired by Disney,
Okay. There was that, and then there's this.
and then the Muppet Revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets.
Hold on, let me fix it again. I didn't get the full after.
11, they started. They started 11. They started 11. They started. They started. They started. They started. They started 11. They started 11. They started 11. They started. They started. Muppet Revival of 2011. They started doing the Muppets again.
We might need to re-record it.
The Muppet Revival of 2011. They started doing the Muppets again, but in
Or just,
Cut that beginning part.
fuck, man. We're getting to the point where I think we just need to take a break. And it sucks because I feel like we're in the middle of so many things, and I want to have them wrapped up so that way we can start up on something new once we get back in, but...
And then the Muppet Revival of 2011. They started doing the Muppets again, but
Ooh. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think I might be able to fix it better.
and then the Muppet Revival of 2011. They started doing.
Okay, I had one idea, but I have a better idea, I think. I'm going to restore the whole thing that I just did. Restore this part 2 that I did out.
2011, after they had been acquired, after 2011, after they had been acquired by Disney, they started. The Muppet Revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release.
Alright, let me see how that flows.
And most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then the Muppet Revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're
Okay, yeah, I still want to fix this ending part.
3D. And then the Muppet Revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. But in 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel.
But, oh yeah, we don't need that but, then it doesn't need to be there at all.
In
Okay, hold on, let me fix it. We're almost done with this part, and then we can just take a break.
2011, they had a film release, then, but in again, but in, And then the Muppet revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and
I don't feel like
2011 needs to be mentioned twice in such a short span. Which one should we take out?
then they had a sitcom,
Bitch, I fucking went to the beginning of it. What are you talking about?
and then the Muppet revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release.
Okay, I think the first one we take out. Because then it will flow better. If we take out the second one, what's it going to sound like?
Started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they had...
okay, kind of
Either one. Which one do you hate more? Because I feel like both of them, if just one leaves,
it'll make it so much better.
And then the Muppet revival of 2011, they started...
Here, you know what?
For funsies, let me
Do one of each. I'll show you how
how that works, so that way that's something that you know how to do. So
I'm just going to do a copy.
and a paste of that clip. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is for one of the clips, we're gonna take out the first one, the 2011, and for the second one, we're gonna take out the second one.
And then the Muppet revival of 2011.
Okay, so this is the first one, and then this is gonna be the second one. Then we'll listen to both of them, and we'll see which one sounds better.
They had a film release, then they had, in 2011, in 2011 they had a,
Okay, so it's here.
in 2011
Oh, let me zoom in. That'll be easier.
they had a film release.
You want to find like the beginning and the ends of words and make sure you chop it accordingly. Because otherwise it might just sound too weird.
Doing the Muppets again. They had a film release.
Okay. All right. So here we go. I have cut out 2011, the first one, and then this one cuts out the second one. We're gonna listen to both, and we'll see which one you like better. And you saw how I did that.
And then the Muppet revival, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays, they're kind of in that...
Okay. So this part I still want to fix either way, depending on which one we go with. But what do you think about that one versus? Sorry.
And then the Muppet revival of 2011, they started doing the Muppets again. They had a film release, then they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where like...
You like the first one better? I'm gonna listen to it again.
And then the Muppet revival, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they...
Okay, you know what? I think I agree with you as long as we put in some kind of pause here. Because I feel like because of all the chops, it flows too quickly.
And the Muppet revival, they started doing the Muppet...
You know what I'm saying? Like if we just put a little marker here and we do just like a split second pause, I think it'll come off much better.
So we're gonna delete this one. And we're gonna put this one, and then we're gonna put just a little bit of a gap, just so that it has breathing room again.
Muppet Vision 3D. And then the Muppet revival, they started...
All right, not that much. We also might want to just re-record it. Fuck, I'm trying to avoid re-recording dialogue as much as possible because it's just going to be more work later on.
3D. And then the Muppet revival, they started doing the Muppets again.
That helps slightly in my mind, but the problem is still like how quickly you say revival and then it just abruptly stops because that wasn't how the sentence was. When you said it, it sounded more natural, but you just had
Too much redundancy, so we had to cut it. But now it sounds weird, so
I hate to say it, but we might just want to re-record that.
Muppet Vision 3D. And then the Muppet revival, they started doing the Muppets again.
maybe if we just put a slight pause between Muppet and Revival, it'll sound okay. Let me try that real quick. Re-recording is the last fucking ditch effort because I don't want to do that.
Revival. The Muppet Revival. Revival. Revival.
Chaos stress.
The Muppet Revival, they started doing the Muppet. And then the Muppet Revival, they started doing.
It's. I think I'm just making you sound like a fucking robot. Yeah, I think we should just re-record it.
And then the Muppet Revival, they started doing.
I think we should just record. All right. So. It's fine. You'll say it more structurally sound as a re-recording. All right.
And then the Muppet Revival, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011. And then the Muppet Revival, they started. And then the Muppet Revival, they started doing the Muppets.
Okay. So I typed it out how I think you should say it. It'll probably sound better anyway. I'm gonna put spaces between them. And then you might want to reword the second one. Will the runner redeemed hydrate? Yeah, I should. Alright, and
We should definitely take a break. I wanted to try and wrap this part up, but it's alright. We did I think we did this.
I think that's all we've done in fucking 3 hours.
Fuck, man, are you serious? That's all we've done?
Internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1. A really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 20...
Oh, of course. I have fun doing this. It's such a time sink for some reason.
of
I think it's because I'm just so particular.
1936. The Muppets
But you know what? You feel much more proud of the work when you
Do it the way you want to do it, even if it takes longer.
started out as a small series called Sam and Friends, and then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 1969.
Okay, so for the future, when you're making other videos,
I think I would recommend recording in chunks. Don't try and straight shoot it like you did here. For the most part, it's good, but there's going to be a lot of those moments where you had the gaps and we're trying to fix the gaps, and sometimes, for the most part, it was coming out good. But some of those gaps we tried to fix made it worse, or just you sound like a robot because we're, blah, blah, blah.
so I think, and I should explain this with here. So I'm going to send you what you should re-record. I want you to read each sentence by itself, have a good amount of a pause because that'll give me room to edit, and then read the next one, and then do the same thing because there's 3 different things to read.
And there's nothing else we need you to read, right? That'll lead into part 2. Let me see.
A sequel,
Oh,
and
no,
then they
stop
had
that.
a sitcom,
This.
a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where they're kind of where they were in the 90s.
I feel like this whole part should be cut. Because you start out strong, and then you just go... I think you're ad-libbing. I think that's the
Just
problem.
more and more, but equal. And then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
We might just want to re-record that part.
I also feel like if we take out...
A tiny portion and re-record, it's probably best.
More and more, but now more and more. Bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area. and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that. And then
Also, I'm sending you the dialogue that you should say.
We're probably going to cover your eyes anyway, so don't feel bad about reading it directly from it.
Or
Take it one sentence at a time and really focus on that one sentence.
since we're taking the time to re-record it, we should make it the best it can be.
they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where like they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
I don't know what to do with this.
My first thought is to take out the and more. And then you say kinda, I think, twice. So we might just want to re-record this whole portion and really get your point across. You ad-libbed, so I guess it wasn't on script. So whatever you think you were going for here, we should retype it and just re-record it.
Other short mini movies, and just more and more. But nowadays they're kind of in that area where like they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I'm starting to really run out of steam here.
What are your thoughts? Okay. Do agree with rewording it. I just can't figure out how to. Yeah, fuck. That's where I am too. All right. I'm just gonna leave you a note for it. We're gonna come back to this on Friday. So Friday morning we'll try and do the same thing. Okay. By Friday morning, you figure out how you want to word it.
I guess I'll just type what you said. And then I'll put reword this.
Look back at my script. Yeah. Because maybe you kind of just went a little off script and you recorded it and then you were just like, whatever, that's good. But maybe you could have gone with something better based on what you had already written. I'm not sure.
More and more, but
Yeah, okay, so
other short mini movies, and just more and more.
we are, honestly, if you're going to re-record this portion, I feel like you should probably just re-record this portion too, because the chops, these are bad chops. I did what I could, but like your flow isn't quite there because
Of the chop.
so this might be a lot to type, but let's see.
And they had a sequel, and then they had a sitcom, a bunch of other short
Oh, you know what? We could probably cut this just slightly,
release. Then they had a sequel, and then they had
because you don't need the and then the. You're listing all the things.
I think that's good.
11. They had a film release. Then they had a sequel, and then
A sitcom, you know what I mean?
they had a sequel, and then they had a sit.
Hold on, I think that's gonna sound better.
Doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, and just more and more. But
I think we get rid of the and more and more.
more and more, more and more, more and more, and just more and more, and just more and more. But mini movies, but nowadays they're kind of in that.
I think we just want a little bit of a pause there.
mini movies, but nowadays they're kind of in that area where like a bunch of other short, a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies, but nowadays they're kind of in that area where like they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
Kinda where they were, kinda more popular. See, that's the double
Kinda I don't like.
Oh, that's weird. Sometimes this happens where all you gotta do is that.
90s, but still kind of in that area where like they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular. Nowadays they're kind of in that area where like, but nowadays they're kind of in that area where like.
Okay, yeah, this is the only part I think we need to redo. So.
But nowadays they're kind of. In that area where. Like. They're kind of where they were in. 90s, but still kind of more popular.
Okay. So this right here is 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of dialogue you gotta re-record. I'm sending it to you now. Your homework is to, by Friday morning, have that re-recorded, uploaded so I can grab it, and then insert it accordingly. We left in the spots where they go, so that way
If something goes wrong, we didn't delete the original versions. Okay, let's save it as is.
Yeah, I talked earlier about that Friday video that just got lost, or it was basically done. I forgot to mention that the reason I took such a long break from it before the computer took a shit was because I did all this stuff where I was editing. Oh my god, I was being so particular about where things would be, pauses. It was a music video for Friday the 13th and Slipknot, and it was like the fade in or the fade out of the music had to be just right at certain moments, so that way it could cut to people talking. It was a summary, and then it was going to be just like music video. I put so much fucking work into this for so many days, and when I came in one day, so I saved it, I closed it. When I reopened it, for some reason it didn't save right, and the things were moved around. So I was just so defeated. I took a giant break from it, and then the computer broke.
My point is, I always have that fear of leaving things for another day, because what if I fucking open it and everything's in the wrong spot? So you know what I should do? And okay, so here's it right here. What I should have done when you're taking a break for like at least a day, multiple days, make it a video. Save it completely as it is. Because right now it's saved as a VSDC video file. If I create the video that it currently is, if this gets deleted, worst case, I just go redo certain parts of the edits. I'll put, I could put cuts in certain spots and stuff. But at least I'd have the video that I started. So that's what I'm going to do. So I don't like where this saves. I'm going to move where this saves. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up real quick.
You don't need to know where I save it and stuff like that.
That I'm just going to have all my other projects that you guys don't
Don't need to know about yet. But we're gonna switch over to Marvel Snap real quick, and then it'll probably be just done for the day. I think we did enough. Anyway, that was fun. Hope you guys have a good time
watching, seeing how I do shit. And Finn, I could have done this without you, but I don't think it would have been as good. So I like that we're getting your input
on it.
It makes it way more personal to yours, because otherwise I could edit it and then I could fuck up on certain edits and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you coming out here and
taking the time to watch it and work with it. So, this is cool. I like doing this, but I do need a break. So I'm gonna stop this stream, and then we're gonna do Marvel Snap real quick, and then we're gonna be done for the day. And then I'm gonna work on something else tomorrow. Maybe also the evening today, and then Friday morning we'll come back and do this again. I'll try to be on sooner than 11 this time though. Okay. I don't even know if anyone's typing. So I made the chat go away accidentally. Okay. Pause stream.